Welcome to You and Your Democracy. It's a short take civics lesson as part of our program, Where Do We Go From Here? I'm Chuck Parkinson. Each episode, we will look at the head and heart of democracy. We will explore the values and the principles that have created our American exceptionalism and examine the structures and institutions that give us the guardrails of our democratic republic. To quote Benjamin Franklin when asked in 1787 after the Constitutional Convention, "Doctor, what have we got, a republic or monarchy?" To which Franklin responded with a rejoinder at once witty and ominous, "A republic if you can keep it." So now let's take a look at what is this great American experiment, and then ask, what do we need to do to keep it? If democracy is to exist and evolve, it requires participation of all citizens. In this episode, we will take a look at one step Rapid City has taken to include an important segment of our community with the creation of the Rapid City Youth City Council. I'm pleased to be joined by two members of the council, Chair Hannah Churchill and Vice Chair Jordyn Kokesh. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
Let's start about talking about the Youth Council, what it is and what you do.
So our Youth City Council is made up of 18 members, all ranging from ages 14 to 18. The grades range from around 8th grade to senior level. And we have a great range of diversity within our council, including ethnicities, grade level. We have kids in public high schools and private schools, as well as home schools. And we all meet up on a monthly basis to discuss city matters and learn more about the community.
Yeah, and that diversity in the council was one of the things that was really important for us when we were starting it. We wanted to have kids from all the schools in the city and all grades and, different voices so that we had everyone in the council.
How did the Youth Council come about, your involvement in it, and what made you want to be involved?
Well, about 2 years ago, I think now, I met with a group of 2 other youth, and we started the idea of a youth city council because we were interested in learning more about government and also getting youth involved in government and in our city because of the low turnout of young voters. So we thought that was important. And we wrote up a proposal for a youth city council, and then we presented it to the mayor. And then that proposal didn't really move forward then. So then about, a year after that, I was still interested in this project. So I talked to our adult mentor, Kristen, and I decided that we should try again. And then I roped Jordyn into helping me with that. And we spoke to the mayor and city leadership again, and we got it passed. And everyone was really supportive of us getting started.
As I understand, is that the mayor and the city council are very supportive of your activity and your involvement.
Yeah, they've been really, really supportive. The mayor was kind of surprised to hear that youth were actually interested in city government. That's one of the things he said when we presented to him, and we were like, yeah, we totally want to do this. And then the city leadership was really awesome. Laura took our proposal straight to legal after we presented to her, Laura Armstrong. And Lance Lehman is one of our youth city council liaisons. So he's at every meeting and everything.
So there's a good interchange between both you all and the full council.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That's great. And it's also, I just to take a moment to compliment you on the steps that you took and the perseverance that was there. A lot of people think that young people, should basically be seen and not heard. And I kudos to both of you and all of the members of the Youth Council who have stepped forward to get involved. As you've experienced working with the Youth Council and working with the City Council, what has been the, shall we say, the reaction of your peers, your school peers? Are they interested in what you're doing, or have you seen any change in their attitudes about your being involved?
I know a lot of our school members have been quite surprised of what we've accomplished so far. There's been a lot of individuals who are interested in it, because of this new opportunity to learn new things and to get involved. But I would say that it's not as widespread as we would like it to be right now. So that's why we created a marketing team in order to show the young people in our community what the Youth City Council is about. So we would like to create flyers and little business cards in order to give the schools so kids can get more informed about getting involved.
I think that's very important because a lot of times most of the interest falls on national elections, but local elections are incredibly important because the local governments have a direct impact on our day-to-day lives. As we go, you indicated that you've created some committees. Could you describe what they are and what their goals are?
Yeah, we have 3 committees right now. We have the Cultural Competence and Community Relations Committee. And that committee is kind of about, creating community relations and making sure everyone's voice is heard and that we're educating ourselves and teaching our peers about the different cultures in our community. And one thing that committee's done recently is we wrote a memorandum about the Human Relations Task Force that the mayor had requested. And so we had people from that task force come speak to us. And then we provided our support and some suggestions that will be read at the next Common Council meeting. And
then we also have our Environment Committee. And this group of individuals, we really work towards creating a more eco-friendly environment within our city and to get more people informed about this. So during our meetings, we discuss possibilities of putting recycling bins in parks and schools and such. And one of the most important things we've done so far is we've had a citywide park cleanup at Founders Park. This was about 2 weeks ago, I believe. And this was a great way to get many people involved in our community. I think we had around 20 people show up, and it was great to have all this community bonding over such an important role in our city.
And then we have the Mental Health Committee, and they're working on creating awareness about mental health and youth mental health, and just kind of working on reducing stigma. And one of their projects that we just talked about last night at our Youth City Council meeting was they're working on doing a rock painting project and then leaving those rocks with, positive messages and photos on them around the community to just make people feel better as they see them.
And one really interesting thing about our committees is that youth can still join and get involved even though they're not a part of the council. So these are open for anyone to show up and get involved if they're interested in any of these 3 topics.
Well, that's great. The more involvement is the better from that, as you guys know, from that standpoint, to have that involvement, because it's the same thing that I've heard the mayor and Laura Armstrong talk about at the city council level, that there are a lot of committees there and there's a lot of opportunity for people to get involved. And for our government to work, we need to have community involvement. That's the key to democracy. What have you learned about local government and how it impacts you?
I've learned a lot since I started doing this, and as I was working to start the Youth City Council, I had no idea about anything about city government at all. I kind of knew a little bit about national and the bigger stuff, but I knew nothing about our community. And as I worked to start the Youth City Council, and then as we've been doing this, I've learned a lot more, and I found that it's actually really interesting. And I've had a lot of fun learning more about what goes on in our city, and even stuff that you think would be boring, like sidewalks and where you put them. They talked about that for a long time at one of the Common Council meetings that I went to, and I was interested the whole time. So, yeah.
Well, that's an interesting one, that you found that something that you had no idea about, but then but all the complexities that go with zoning issues.
And I would say I have learned a lot from this Youth City Council as well. I was in the same boat as Hannah. I knew basically nothing about our local government when I started this. And from the time I started, which is around in August of last year, to where I am now, I've learned how intertwined how the departments are in the city, especially how stuff really connects to each other and relates to each other. Every month at our meetings, we have one of the committees or one of the departments of Rapid City come speak to us about what they do. So our meeting yesterday, we had an individual come and talk about zoning, as Hannah just said. And it was really interesting to learn about all these different facts of how our city runs and how important it is to have planning.
A healthy democracy needs well-informed and active citizens. What advice would you share with other young people across South Dakota to encourage them to be informed and civically engaged?
I would say that if an opportunity comes up that they're even slightly interested in, they should do it. Because like I said, I knew nothing about city government or like even what a youth city council would look like. But I'm really glad that I decided to help get it started and participate in it because it's been really fun and something that I've really enjoyed doing. And so I would say that just go for it because you might find something that you love doing.
Adding on to Hannah's point, I think that if an individual has like some sort of idea or something that they want to make better in their community, they should always ask someone for help and always try to achieve what they want. Because like this idea that this group of people had at the beginning for a youth city council actually made it now, and we're doing stuff which is crazy. So a little idea can spark into this big involvement in our community. And I think that if young people have this idea to better their community, better themselves, they should go for it.
That is a very good point to end on. And of course, short takes are short takes. That's our episode for now. I want to thank Hannah Churchill and Jordyn Kokesh for sharing their thoughts and experiences with us today. And as always, our executive producer, Suzanne Stratford, and the SDPB technical staff for their creativity and hard work on this program. Thank you also to supporters of South Dakota Public Broadcasting who make this program possible. To view previous episodes in this series, go to sdpb.org/election. If you have comments or suggestions for future episodes, send us a note at programming@sdpb.org. Until our next short take, I'm Chuck Parkinson.